Hi, I'm Spyder. I'm back for 24. 2 dozen. Can you imagine that? Spyder, CFL Red-Zone Rule, YouTube sessions. We're up to now. This is going to be a shorter session. I got 24 minutes. It may even be shorter, but probably we'll use it all up. And just want to say, I hope everybody had a good Mother's Day. Okay. I'm back. I'm going to be putting Eddie Shack's 23 YouTube session. I call here the track. Here comes Shaq. No, I'm just kidding. Just a metaphor. But on my 23rd, then this is going to be 24. I'm going to get right into it, and it's going to be about basically the so-called Canadian CFL Draft and the CBA talks. And then I'm going to have a special edition for you, a very important special edition that I'll brief you on at the end. That it's going to be fantastic, and you won't believe who I stumbled over and how important this session is going to be. That's what I call it, the Spyder Special Edition session, and I'll give you the title, okay, at the end. Okay, and that one will be the last for a while, okay, because I got lots to do around the house, okay, and so forth. It's spring. I would call it spring cleaning. I hate this break. Whatever, but I'll be back, okay? But I'm going to be updating my Facebook page, Spyder CFL Red-Zone Rule Facebook page on Facebook. That's up now. I'm going to be adding more to it, and I'm going to be doing my campaign on across Canada. I'm going to go on CFL City radio sports shows and blitz my CFL Red-Zone Rule and in all CFL cities. So you're going to hear more from me and my Spyder CFL Red-Zone Rule. I'm working on that blitz right now, but you'll hear about it, okay? You'll hear Spyder. So Spyder's back, live and kicking, and we're ready to go for part 24. Okay, I just want to also, just like I always do, because they're all live takes, no remakes, and they're very difficult to do. We got some harsh lighting again. That's our sun fog, we call it, on the monitors. They should have called the Atlantic Schooners, which is never going to happen, by the way. I don't even get into that. That's a joke. I got sucked in the Touchdown Atlantic, $112. They only sold 500 tickets. They overpriced it like crazy. I was an idiot to buy a ticket. And that Mickey Mouse, Ricky Dinky little stadium they're proposing, it's an absolute joke. They're going nowheres with this fast, and they should just fold the tent, seriously. I just got taken to the cleaners, okay? And anybody else that bought those tickets, Touchdown Lane, got taken to the cleaners too. You know, there may be 1,000 people there. Well, they're gonna have to cancel that, and I hope I can get my money back. But I'm not impressed. Randy and Brosy or the LeBlanc group or the Argonauts ownership group, what you did with Touchdown Atlantic it's hard to believe you could pull that one off to try to scam people. It was a sting, really, but you're not stinging. You stung me, but you're not stinging anybody else. I really feel bad that I was lured in like that. Okay. Anyway, I just want to go over some of my mistakes from my last session, as I always do, my corrections and my mistakes from part 23. Meant to say top Canadian players going to the NFL. I said CFL. Can you imagine that? I also meant to say easy chip shot field goals when I said chip shot again. That can happen. Okay, shit happens, right? Meant to say Canadian college stadiums in Canada. And I said college stadiums. Okay, I meant to say, you know, the size of the Canadian college stadiums in Canada. And then also, what I meant in comparison, like I was comparing to the Rinky Dinky, you know, the Mickey Mouse LeBlanc group's Mickey Mouse Little Stadium proposed for Halifax. So it's not much better than that. It's unbelievable. Something like the Moncton model. It will die. No one will go. Okay, it's brutal. It's not even close to being a CFL model stadium. So let's get off that. Anyway, and you can blame that a lot on Brosy too. Okay, because in Brosy, you know, He was just on into Calgary. He was out there for their to launch their tickets for the Grey Cup. Okay, and he was out there, and he was on a podcast. Okay, a Fan 590 podcast, and he came out and said, "Oh, this is going to be another. This is going to takes a while to put it together to get it. You know, $250 million stadium. Play it back. That's what he said for Halifax. Like, he's just seriously, just I can't believe the things coming out of his mouth." And he was over in Dartmouth. They showed that rinking Dicky. You can see it for yourself what it's going to be. It's like I said in my last session. It's a FIFA. If it's a FIFA model, $60 million. It's basically like the Moncton. It's a little better than Moncton. It's a joke. It's not even close to being a $200 million or even $100 million, or even $130 million. What they were said they were going to scale it back from 190, 170, 130. Not even close. It's like a $60, $70 million. With the bubble, you maybe add what, another $4 million or $3 million to put a bubble on it for. You know, so Sports Nova Scotia can use it. What a joke this is. And Brosey, you're not being straight up again. You're trying to snow everybody. You know, it's unbelievable. I'll tell you, I'm not impressed with Randy and Brosey and the LeBlanc group. I'll tell you, it's unbelievable. But guess what? I'm not that stupid, okay? I don't think sports fans in general are too, because they have, they have sports brains, okay? All right? Just put your sports hat on and just listen to what he's saying. Anyway, let's get off at Randy and Brosey, okay? He doesn't deserve to be talked about, really. Seriously. But I will probably refer to some other things here, okay? Because actually, on my last session, he did say, when I played back the Sportsnet playback on that podcast he was on with Stephen Brunt, he actually did say what I played back. I said it was further on, but he actually did say, "Oh, he's got to make the CFL bigger and better by making our CFL 3-down game more exciting and more entertaining to watch." Well, and Brosey, why didn't you make then my CFL Red-Zone Rule part of our CFL 3-down game? Why? Why? Tell me why. Oh yeah, and Brosey, I know why. Because you and the CFL didn't come up with it yourselves, like Steve Armitage told me, and that's why. And how pompous and egotistical is that? It's unbelievable. And there's something else I'll add to this at the end. That's why I'm going to do the special edition that occurred, that you're going to be blown away when I tell you about this. To that, okay, what I'm just saying. All right, so I'm sorry for some of my stumbles and my words last time. I'm a limited time, you know, time's out. And my speed talking too, trying too hard, trying to get everything in my session, knowing that the video, it's crunch time, it's going to time out on me. Like words like association I can pronounce, health benefits I can pronounce, all those. I mean, come on, and businesses, etc. But it happens, okay, because I try too hard and I try to get everything in, and I talk too fast trying to get everything in, so the result is stumbles. So okay, I apologize for all that. So let's get down to business here. Let's talk about what's going on with the Canadian CFL, so-called Canadian CFL draft, or CFL draft, but it's a Canadian draft, okay? Now let's get down to the brass tacks of it, and let's get down to the real truth of it, okay? It's not really the Canadian CFL draft or the CFL Canadian draft. You know what it is? The real title should be, it should be the guaranteed Canadian starter that's right, the guaranteed Canadian starting O lineman ratio draft. That's what it should be, because that's what it is. That's what it is. And the top 3 or 4 pick of the, I think 3 of the 4 picks, someone was saying that's what they drafted. Guaranteed Canadian starting ratio O lineman. That's what they drafted. It's hard to say it one time, isn't it? But I come up with that term. It's pretty cool. And that's exactly what it is. Because they are forced to fill 7 Canadian starter positions, right? They're forced to do it. They're handcuffed. Okay, they're dictated to by the Canadian Players Association. They're basically controlling the CFL, or running the CFL with their Canadian guaranteed starting ratio and huge guaranteed Canadian roster ratio. So they got to fill the, and they got to have backup too. They have to back up. So 7 starters, okay, are guaranteed Canadian. So they fill them with guaranteed Canadian ratio alignment. Ratio alignment, yes sir. To fill that Canadian guaranteed starting ratio. And then, you know, there were some receivers this year, but the Saskatchewan's one, I think the top one was going to sign the NFL. I think the top 2 picks, the Canadian draft, you imagine that. Now, what kind of draft is this? Can you imagine the NHL, the NFL, okay, a Major League Baseball, can you imagine, or NBA, they can't draft their best picks because they're going to be going to another competitive league? They can't even draft them? Why have a CFL Canadian Draft? You can't draft the top picks, Mr. Ambrosi. Why? Well, we know why. Because you don't even run your own league. And owners, you know what? You got to put your foot down. How long are you going to take this abuse, okay, from them? Okay? There's no restrictions placed on them. They want their 1-year contracts, 322 free agents so they can go freely to the NFL. The Canadian top players, 8 out of 10 didn't show up at the combine. The top pick didn't show. He signed in the NFL. Okay? So what are they going to do? It's like a crapshoot, right? Crapshoot. So if they take a chance, so, oh, maybe he'll never, if he goes to the NFL, he'll never come to the CFL. Well, we'll take a chance on it. You know, you know, maybe he'll come back, you know, 3 or 4 years from now. And that's what's actually happened. Some will never come back. There's over 20, and now counting, top Canadian players playing in the NFL right now when there's a guaranteed Canadian starter ratio to fill. Can you imagine this? Can you really wrap your head around this? How bonkers this is? How ludicrous this is? And the CFL, Mr. Bro, you call yourself a professional football league? I'm sorry, I'm Canadian. You never get anybody Canadian as me. Blackberry, okay? I don't even watch the NFL, I only watch CFL. That's why I'm so upset with this, okay? My favorite band's the Guess Who. I have I'm so Canadian. But guess what? I'm a realist too, and I want what's best for our game, okay? And by the way, Canadian players, I heard you on the Green Zone going on saying, oh, if they reduce the Canadian starter ratio from 7 to 5, it would jeopardize the integrity of our game. You hypocrite, you. You liar, you. You guys, you don't give a shit about the CFL. Oh yeah, you do as a backup if your top players can't get in the NFL. You don't even watch CFL. I found out in my survey from CIS players. You don't even watch CFL players. You watch NFL because you want to go to the NFL and you look down the CFL and you go on and say, oh, it's basically, you know, they're basically saying it's our league. We're running it, right, with our Canadian ratio. You know, it's unbelievable. Are you hearing this, American players? Okay, you hearing this, owners? You got to shut the Canadian Players Association down, made up of carefully selected, guaranteed starting ratio alignment, like keeping the president, like Ambrosi, who was one of them who actually fought the CFL in court when they wanted to get rid of the Canadian starter ratio. Oh, Ambrosi, you, the commissioner, did that. Unbelievable. This is our structure of our CFL. It's unbelievable the way it's structured. It's hard to believe. Seriously, I had to do something on this, really. It upset me so much. And you have the gall to go on there and say, oh yeah, you know, listen, basically, you know, we want to grow the CFL. We want to make it more, you know, bigger and stronger. Oh yeah, you really want to do. You know what you want to do? I wish I had I was going to take a dollar bill and show, okay, have a $20 bill. So you're all about money. $100 bill, hundreds of dollars a bill. We have a whole friggin' bank of bills here because you're trying to rob the bank. You don't care about the Canadian. You don't care about the CFL. You don't care about if it prospers, it grows. You don't care about any of it. You just care about raping it. And by the way, Edmonton, who hosted Grey Cup last year, it was huge. 56,000 people there. Guess what? They barely made a profit. $2 million is barely making a profit. And they hosted the Grey Cup. It's a very huge Grey Cup, successful Grey Cup. Hamilton's been losing money, tens of millions. Ottawa lost money hosting the Grey Cup. Dude, can you imagine? Ottawa lost money in 2017. They lost money. They lost $8 million and they were filling their stadiums. There's no money, man. There's BC, empty seats. Montreal's ready to fold. They're losing tens of millions of dollars here. And you're going around pushing the CFL around and saying, oh, we want 5-year, 10-year, 20-year like health benefits, okay? Insurance, health insurance. When you guys are doing the illegal hits and the vicious hits and causing the major injuries, it's unbelievable. And you want to have 50% of the revenue, the profits? There's no profits. They're losing tens and tens of millions of dollars. The CFL is ready to fold, but you don't care. You just going to, listen, if it still exists another year or two, you want to rape it. You want to take all the money you can fill your pockets. And that's why you want to go to the NFL, to fill your pockets even more. That's all you're about is money, nothing else. And guess what? We certainly don't go to a CFL game to see a grossly overpaid, guaranteed starting ratio lineman that's hand at their spot. The coaches are handcuffed. They're forced to play you, to fill the Canadian starter ratio, and there's where they fill it. Start filling it. And then fill in some Canadian receivers that haven't been for 10 years good enough to play in the CFL. Okay? And then with backup, weaker Canadian O-linemen for injuries and weaker Canadian receivers because of injuries. The CFL can't even play their best receivers if they're American. They can't play the best top American receivers. They can't recruit the best American O-linemen that are out there that are available to protect their investment. Bo Levi Mitchell, Mike Riley, $700,000, $800,000, come on, $750,000, $700,000. You need to protect your investment. This is two-down football too, where they blitz. You can't have grossly overpaid and terribly overrated guaranteed ratio starting Canadian O-linemen that aren't even good enough to be on, no business being on a CFL field protecting a Bo Levi Mitchell and Mike Riley. That's why the Eskimos were so bad last year. Come on, owners, wake up. Shut them down. Shut them down. Shut them down. Break their Canadian Players Association, the union, and their guaranteed Canadian starter ratio, which has got to go, not reduced by 2. It's got to be abolished completely. And if the Canadian roster ratio is going to stay, it's got to be dramatically reduced. Down to 3. It should be abolished too, but down to 3 like MLS soccer. And who aren't, by the way, forced to start 7 Canadian players. They'd be out of business. So would the NHL. Okay, the Canadian franchises would be out of business if they had that same ridiculous Canadian ratio handcuffing, dictating formula. It's ridiculous. It's got to go. It's got to go. I'm telling you, it's got to go. Okay. Here we go. See what I got. See how far I'm into this. So I did pretty good. I covered quite a lot. It's very, very disturbing. I mean, the CFL Canadian Draft's not even watched. It's not even one bit respected. It's not even credible. Okay? I mean, you can't even draft the top prospects to go in the NFL. It's unbelievable. They don't even show up at the combine. Like, what kind of draft? Listen, CFL, the owners, listen to me. You got to go to an open draft, an open CFL draft, and draft players that want to play in the CFL, not the NFL, and draft the best available players. Get rid of the Canadian starter ratio. Get rid of the Canadian roster ratio. Get rid of it. Do you want to stay in business? You want to go out of business? Okay? And you definitely need my CFL Red-Zone Rule, big time. You wait till my special edition. It's going to be powerful. Okay? You need Spyder's combo, like I said before. Okay? You know, like, it's hard to believe. It's hard to believe this is taking place. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. If anything should go up, if there was any, I don't know where the money's coming from, is the rookies, the American rookies. Are you listening to me? American rookie players that come up here that are getting $54,000 when Canadian players that aren't as good are getting double that or more, but to fill the Canadian roster ratio, to fill the Canadian starter ratio, and they're getting like 100 to 150 and 200, 250, the guaranteed Canadian ratio alignment, and a lot of them aren't even good enough to be on the field. There's a few in the CFL, that's it, a couple. And teams had to release them. What did they do then? It's unbelievable. This is your CFL, and that's why Montreal's ready to fold, and that's why there's an enormous amount of embarrassing empty seats throughout the CFL. That's the reason. And two-down football in the red zone, when you have the Saskatchewan Roughriders with 102 and outs, imagine 37.5% in the red zone. That's your average percentage of touchdown score in the red zone. How's that going to sell CFL three-down football? Okay, that's why you need the CFL needs Spyder CFL Red-Zone Rule. We'll fix that. Okay, and eliminate the two biggest killers and two biggest turnoffs of our CFL three-down game, and that's unappealing second down stops in the red zone, and eliminate completely as well all the undesirable, distasteful, non-eventful, boring, predictable, easy chip shot field goals in the red zone. That's what my CFL Red Zone Rule will do. And if you get rid of the Canadian starter ratio and allow the best players available to be recruited by the coaches to start and play at every position for an entire CFL game in the CFL. So CFL three-down football is played at its highest level with the best available players and with the best rules and with the most powerful and most impactful and most innovative and most dramatic and most exciting and most entertaining CFL rule in the history of CFL and all CFL football with Spyder CFL Red Zone Rule. Then you got a product to sell. Then you got a product to sell. Okay, we're moving on here. We got to keep going here. I went over the Bombers. Okay, profit was $2 million. That was peanuts, really, and they've been losing money prior to that. It's the first year they made any money. They might have made one other year since they opened the stadium. They may have made $1 million or $2 million, but it's piss poor. I'll tell you that much. They probably only buy half of their equipment. It's unbelievable, really. Okay, I talked about that. I'm just seeing if I covered everything I wanted to cover. So here we go. Okay, I got a couple minutes just to close out here. That I'm going to do a special edition. I ran into, you're not going to believe, the caretaker, Mr. Bob Young. I ran into him at the Halifax Wanderers grounds. I believe he owns the Premier Soccer League team, and I briefed him briefly on my CFL Red Zone Rule that he didn't know anything about. By the way, Ryan Gentian, you're a liar. You said in the email that you presented to teams. He knew nothing about it. Can you imagine? And he was very interested, and I briefed him. And I'm going to leave you at that, and I'm going to do a big-time special edition just for the caretaker, for Bob Young, on my CFL Red Zone Rule coming up on my next session. Stay tuned. Take care, Spyder, and man, it's going to be good. And Mr. Bob Young, it's just for you, a special edition for you on Spyder's CFL Red Zone Rule, and it's going to be one of my best and most impactful, most powerful sessions. Okay. And I'm going to make sure that I get it to him, that he knows that it's up, that he can watch it. And I told about my Facebook page as well. And for Mr. Bob Young, I'm going to be presenting at my next session on, okay, on 25, my 25 sessions. So take care.